Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel SS Analysis. First of all, I would like to tell you that if you are watching this video first time, subscribe my channel to see my more upcoming videos on analysis of different commodities and equity indices. And second important thing is to watch this video till its end to understand this thoroughly to take your decision. Your one like will motivate me to be regular in working more hard for you. So let us start the day to analyze the movements of natural gas futures in a daily time frame. So here you can see that the natural gas futures found a strong support during the month of March 2020 at the levels of $1.522, from where showed a strong upward move up to the levels of $2.156, which continued up to May 5th, 2020, but from here a sharp downward move was seen in natural gas futures, where the natural gas futures once again found some support at the levels of $1.611 on May 13, 2020. So friends, here you can see that since May 13, 2020, the natural gas futures consolidated amid this zone from the levels of $1.5 to $1.9, where they finally faced stiff resistance at the levels of $1.899 constantly during this period up to July 2020. And during the month of July 2020, here you can see that finally the natural gas futures found a good support at the upper end of Ichimoku cloud in a daily time frame on July 31st. So friends, here you can see that after facing a stiff resistance at the levels of $1.922 on July 30th, 2020, natural gas futures moved downward but found a strong support at the upper end of Ichimoku cloud on July 31st. And finally, here you can see that the natural gas futures once again tested the upper end of Ichimoku cloud on August 3rd, but here this reversal was very strong in natural gas futures, which resulted in a sharp upward move in natural gas futures up to the levels of $2.153 on August 3rd. And since then the natural gas futures maintained this uptrend, which continued up to August 28, when the natural gas futures tested the highs of $2.748 on August 28. But here the natural gas futures found some profit booking, which resulted in a downward move, and the natural gas futures finally found some support at the levels of $2.424 during this fall. And once again natural gas futures tried to move upward but found stiff resistance at the levels of $2.589. Here you can see that the levels of $2.589 seems to be a stiff resistance for natural gas futures, where the natural gas futures started to move downward. And here you can see that since September 8, 2020, the natural gas futures started to slide once again and continued to move downward with a steep downward move, and finally tested the lows of $1.796 on September 21st. So here I find that the natural gas futures have found a new base here at the levels of $1.813 and tried to sustain this level during the next 2 days. And finally, here you can see that the natural gas futures found a strong bounce back from the levels of $1.816 on September 23rd, 2020, which continued up to September 24th, when the natural gas futures tested the levels of $2.321, where they found stiff resistance at 20 days moving average, because here you can see that the natural gas futures found a good support at the 50 days exponential moving average on September 24th, but found stiff resistance at 20 days moving average. So here you can see that the levels of $2.227 seems to be an immediate resistance for natural gas futures, but here you can see that the natural gas futures are still maintaining at the levels of $2.131, where they found some resistance during this upward move. Here you can see that the natural gas futures finally closed on last Friday at a very decisive juncture, because here this level seems to be a critical support for natural gas futures, where the natural gas futures closed the last week at the levels of $2.127 where I find that this looks to be a very decisive juncture. Here I find that if the natural gas futures find a gap up opening above the upper end of Ichimoku cloud on the first trading session of the upcoming week, we'll see the natural gas futures will try to break the immediate resistance of $2.269. If we find the natural gas futures to sustain above the levels of $2.269, we'll see the natural gas futures to remain in an uptrend where the next resistance can be seen at the levels of $2.474 during the upcoming week. But here I find that the natural gas futures will remain in a bullish consolidation phase from the levels of $2.2 up to $2.489, where a breakout above the levels of $2.489 will result in a sharp upward move up to the next resistance at the levels of $2.695. Here I find if the natural gas futures find a breakout move above the levels of $2.748, we'll see the natural gas futures to test the next resistance at the levels of $2.872 during the upcoming week. Friends, here I find that during the upcoming week the natural gas futures will remain very volatile. Friends, here I find that in case of a downward move in natural gas futures, we'll see the natural gas futures find an immediate support at the 200 days exponential moving average, where the natural gas futures may try to hold the levels of $2. But here, if the natural gas futures are not able to defend this immediate support of $2.062, we'll see the natural gas futures could test the lower end of Ichimoku cloud. Friends, here I find that if the natural gas futures find a gap down opening on the first trading session of the upcoming week below the levels of $2.106, we'll see the natural gas futures to test the immediate support of 200 days exponential moving average, which is at the levels of $2.059, and the second support will be found at the 200 days moving average, which is at the levels of $1.925, from where the natural gas futures will find a steep upward move. Once again, from where the natural gas futures could see a sharp reversal from these levels back up to the levels of $2.235, where the natural gas futures will try to sustain above the upper end of Ichimoku cloud during the upcoming week. So friends, be ready to see an action in natural gas futures, because the natural gas futures could remain very volatile during the upcoming week. So thank you friends, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to share this video with your more and more friends. Thank you.